Okay, we really have to talk about this because it's a concept it'll break your brain a little. You know that feeling, right? You get into a new car, you shut the door, and the entire world just vanishes. It's so quiet, so comfortable. It feels like the safest place on earth. But what if I told you that feeling is a lie? That it's a carefully engineered illusion that's actually making you a worse driver by tricking your own brain?
I mean, just think about the last time you were on the highway. You're cruising along in this perfect, climate controlled bubble. Maybe you've got a podcast on, you're sipping a coffee, and you're moving at a speed that would have been unthinkable for most of human history. The physical reality of what's happening is incredibly violent. You are literally a projectile, and every instinct in your body should be screaming at you to be careful. And that right there is the million-dollar question. Why aren't you scared? Well, the simple, kind of terrifying answer is your car is lying to you. It's become this master manipulator, specifically designed to smooth over, to quiet down, to erase every single sensory cue that would normally trigger your natural, healthy fear response. It's a trick, and it's making all of us more dangerous. To really get a handle on this deception, we have to kind of rewind the clock. We need to go back to a time when driving wasn't this relaxing, sterile experience. No, it was a full-body workout, a total sensory assault that forced you to be hyper-aware, whether you wanted to be or not. Yeah, imagine driving a car from the 1960s. It was a physical battle. The engine was roaring in your ears. The wind was howling. You felt every single crack and pebble in the road through the steering wheel. It was loud, it was exhausting, and it was raw. But see, that discomfort wasn't a flaw. It was a survival mechanism. Every one of those vibrations, every one of those sounds was a constant, raw data stream to your brain screaming, hey, pay attention, this is dangerous. You could feel the speed in your bones. You were too busy just keeping the car on the road to even think about being distracted. So what did the engineers do? They basically declared war on all that feedback. They gave it an acronym, NVH, for noise, vibration, and harshness. They invented acoustic glass and active suspension and stuffed cars full of sound-deadening foam. They created these beautiful, quiet, isolated cabins, and in doing so, they accidentally created sensory deprivation chambers on wheels. They cut the connection between you and the road, effectively silencing your brain's natural alarm system.
And this is where it gets really interesting, because being cut off from physical reality leads us straight to this fascinating and frankly kind of scary psychological concept. It explains exactly why we behave differently when we feel safe, even if the real danger hasn't changed one bit.
Exactly. It's called the Peltzman effect. It's named after an economist, Sam Peltzman, who, back in 1975, was studying all these new safety features being mandated in cars, like seatbelts. Now, you'd think, great, fatality rates are going to plummet. But they didn't, not nearly as much as they should have. Peltzman figured out that as cars got safer, people just started driving more recklessly to get back to their old risk budget. They subconsciously used up that new safety margin by taking more chances.
Okay, the best way to get your head around this is to think of a trapeze artist. Picture them up on the high wire, but with no net below. Every single movement is precise, focused, absolutely perfect, right? Because one mistake and it's over. But now, let's add a giant safety net underneath them. What happens? Do they just keep doing the same routine, only safer? No way. They start trying insane, dangerous new flips they would have never attempted before. Why? Because the perceived cost of failure just dropped to zero.
And that analogy is perfect for what's happening in our cars. The airbags, the stability control, the reinforced steel cages, that's our safety net. And so subconsciously, our brain goes, hey, we're pretty much invincible in here. So what do? We follow the car in front a little closer. We brake a little later. We glance at that text message. The very technology that's meant to save us is actually encouraging the behavior that puts us in danger in the first place. And this isn't just some old psychological theory. This whole illusion, this sensory deception, is being cranked up to 11 right now with the rise of electric vehicles. I mean, they're amazing pieces of technology, but they are also the absolute peak of this dangerous game. So first, let's just talk about sheer mass. Because of those huge battery packs, a lot of electric SUVs weigh over 5,000 pounds. I mean, that is a tremendous amount of physical force to have moving down the road. And you pair that incredible weight with just brutal, instant acceleration. We're talking about 0 to 60 times that are faster than supercars from just a couple of decades ago. This is racetrack-level performance, and it's now available in your average family SUV. And now for the final, most chilling part of this whole equation. All of this incredible weight, all of this explosive speed, is delivered in almost total silence. There's no roaring engine, no screaming exhaust, just this silent, effortless rush of pure force.
So you put all that together, and what you have is a complete nightmare for our evolved senses. You've got a vehicle that accelerates like a Ferrari, weighs as much as a delivery truck, and makes less noise than the fridge in your kitchen. It does a perfect job of hiding its own immense kinetic energy, effectively hacking our ancient survival instincts and making insane speeds feel totally normal and casual.
So, what do we do? I mean, we can't go back to driving old, unsafe cars. The technology itself isn't really the enemy. It absolutely saves lives when a crash happens. The real enemy is our own lack of awareness. We have to make a conscious effort to fight back against the car's psychological tricks.
And that's the real challenge, isn't it? The entire car is engineered to lull you into this false sense of security. So how do you manually override that? How do you wake yourself up and reconnect with the reality of what you're doing? Okay, try this little experiment next time you're on the highway and feeling a little too comfortable. Just turn the music off, then crack your window open even for just a few seconds and actually listen to the violent roar of the wind rushing by. Glance over and watch the road blurring past. Force your brain to acknowledge the physics of what's happening. Remind yourself, I am not on my couch. I am piloting a 2-ton machine at incredible speeds.
Because ultimately, the safest car in the world can't protect you from your own complacency. You have to be the one who chooses to stay alert. Because the second that comfortable silence tricks you into forgetting how truly dangerous driving is, well, that's the exact moment you become the danger on the road.